it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. Let's go. I'm just telling you to fight for your dreams, but it's not what it seems. Man, it's hard to be seen when everybody wants to be king. Yeah, they all want a ring. Yeah, we all want to be free.
Welcome back to Lions Nation Unite Live, and we got a great cast for everybody here. We're going all in. We're going deep here. We got Lions Talk Live. Dan, what's going on, man?
Not too much, Mike. Just like everybody else who's in Lions Nation, we're all celebrating a successful draft and talking about how to get cheaper prices on the Detroit Lions going to the Super Bowl this upcoming year.
Yes, they will be going to the Super Bowl in my dreams. That is for sure. And we got Anthony from Roar of the Lions UK. What's going on, bud?
Hey, I'm doing well. Glad to join you all here this evening. I'm finally glad that the draft has been. We've got our players. We've got our next draft class. The next phase of Brad Holmes' master plan is underway. And I can't wait to see it out on the field later on in the year.
And we got Big Mark Orem from Orem's Forum. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, everybody, man? How's it going? The draft's finally over. Big Brad Holmes, man, threw everybody for a loop. Let's talk about it.
We're going to talk about it right now. We'll get to a QA about halfway through the show. You guys run it at that point, but right now I got to hear from all these fellas. Roar Lions UK, Mr. Anthony, yourself here. What did you think about the Detroit Lions trading out of 6, selecting Jahmyr Gibbs?
I mean, it was a surprise to me. I didn't think we were going to make the trade, but I think when Devon went at 5, which was an inexplicable move by the Seahawks, it kind of made a lot of sense. I don't think there was anybody left on their draft board they liked or wanted, so it made sense to go down and get the extra pick. And as for Jamyr, I love Jamyr Gibbs, the football player. I think he's going to be a cracking asset to this team. I mean, I'm surprised they took him so high, but when I look back on this draft, I think they had a very small group of players they wanted, and I trust them with finding and identifying the very small group of players they need, because this team is full of guys who just have the mindset to succeed here in Detroit. So if that means they're going to reach for him a little, I don't mind. So I was surprised, but I really liked the pick. What
would you grade it if you had an A through F?
I mean, you've got a higher pick in the top 50, and you've got a quality running back out of it. I'd give it a B. I think it was a solid move for us. I think we got an extra pick in there, and we were able to get running back depth, which is what we need. We need a good depth in our running back room, and Gibbs is such a versatile weapon. There's so much you can do with him at the next level. I think it's a good trade for now. I don't care about the positional value thing. Solid B.
Dan the man. Lions trade out from 6 to 12. Get Jamyr Gibbs, running back, Alabama. What was your thoughts and grade on this selection?
I give it an A+, and I thought it was a brilliant move. I think this is a direct reflection of Ben Johnson, though. You look back to last year, some of the creative things he came up with for the Lions offense. One of the reasons why, even though when they had moments and times throughout the season when they were down, a lot of the receiving core or just players out of lineup with either Swift or whoever missing, Ben Johnson was able to schematically put people in place to succeed. After TJ Hockenson was traded, look how much more production we got out of the tight end position overall, and the offense just kept on moving. So when Gibbs became available, or after the trade down, I think it's just a huge win for him. Too many people, I think, look at him as a running back, and that's not what he is. We talked a little bit the night of the draft that, this kid's going to be able to play multiple spots all over the field. To view him as just one position, I think, is a discredit to him and to what Ben Johnson's going to do with him.
Mark Orem, thoughts on the selection, trade down, grade? Nope.
Yeah, man. When it first happened, I was, 2 words, surprised and shocked. I was just like, whoa. But like Anthony said, I think, when Will Anderson came off the board, and then I had a feeling on draft night that we were drafting Devin Witherspoon. I just had that feeling in my stomach. Then he went to Seattle, and I was like, Brad's going to make a move. He made a move. He traded down. He got, not only like Dan just said, he's not just a running back, Jahmyr Gibbs. He's a weapon. He's a weapon. He can go in a slot. You can even bounce him outside as a wide receiver. He runs routes like a wide receiver. And hey, we're going to be missing JMO for 6 weeks, and that speed just got replaced by Jahmyr Gibbs. And I'm not saying that that's why they drafted him, but that speed right there completely replaces JMO being out for a bit. So it's a really good running back. He was high on a lot of people's lists. Some even had him higher than Bijan Robinson. I didn't, unfortunately, but he is a weapon. He is a weapon. I did like the move. We acquired another pick out of the deal. So I'm going to give it a solid B, and Ben Johnson's going to have a lot of fun with this guy. So I can't wait for it.
Lions at 18. They take a player who I absolutely love. I've been talking about him. I am so happy to get Jack Campbell, linebacker, there for the Detroit Lions. Ant-Man, thoughts of taking Jack Campbell at 18, what he brings to this defense and grade?
Look, I mean, I'm not going to be the one who said I wanted him. I didn't. I was a big Diane Henley fan. There were other guys I wanted at the time. But like with this entire draft, I went through it and then, I had my initial thoughts. I was a bit like, but then I'm looking at what this team needed. And this team needed a linebacker. It did, regardless of who I thought it might have been. It needs a presence in the middle, a guy who you are going to train to be the leader of your defense in the long term, which is absolutely what Jack Campbell is going to be. He can do a little bit of everything really well. And most importantly, he's going to come in and he's going to help in the run game. And that sort of middle of the field, the linebackers, the run game has been a big pain in our ass for a long time now. And he is the exact type of guy to come in and help us turn that around into a positive rather than a negative. So at first, I was a little surprised, but sleeping on it, thinking about it a little bit more, where he comes from, he is Detroit personified in terms of the grit factor, the determination he plays with, the mindset he plays with. I can see why they love him, and I'm quite happy with picking 18 on linebacker. Like I said, long term, I think he can be the leader of that defense. And if you're picking a guy that high at linebacker, you are wanting to pick a guy who is going to be the leader long term in there. That's the whole point of doing it. So for me, again, it's another B. I'm not going to go out of my mind to say I'm crazy happy about it, but I think it's very solid, and I think long term, if it works out how they hope it does, it'll be a very good pick for us. So I'll give him B for both.
Show some love to Jack Campbell by doing #Campbell in the comment section. I love the guy. Mark Orm from Orm's Forum, Jack Campbell 18. Thoughts, grade? Go ahead.
I love this pick, man. At 18, I was, just like Brad Holmes coming out and, I think it was last year saying that, he doesn't value off the ball linebackers that high. He duped everybody again and picked a player that a lot of Lions fans did not have high on their board. This guy, like Anthony said, was in need. We needed to upgrade in that room. He's going to be a nice piece there. He can do a lot of good things. He's 6'5", 250 pounds. He won the Buckus Award last year for the best linebacker in the nation in 2022. He's grit. He's everything that Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes personify. That's exactly what he is. He's Detroit. He is Detroit, and he's going to help this team. I love the pick. And a lot of people are out there saying that this guy can't cover. His pass defense actually got a lot better through the years at Iowa, and he had a high grade. It got better each year at Iowa, too. He was a team captain. So pick 18, linebacker, upgraded the room. I love it. How they're going to do that with the Anzalone, Rodriguez, and Campbell, I think it might be a rotation at first, but we'll see what trading camp goes. But I got a feeling Jack Campbell's going to win a spot sooner than later.
Dan, first name Dan, not last name Campbell. What do you think about Jack Campbell, Lions at 18, and grade?
That was a real reflection of what this defense is going to try to do, not all the time, but on the majority of downs. You look at what the Lions have done as far as acquiring safeties who can also cover and incredibly well. We now have 4 guys on the roster who fit that. So where did the Lions really get mashed up on defense last year? It's in the run game and for the most part up the middle. So you bring in someone like Campbell to guard the middle while you have, on perhaps first downs, Anzalone on weak side. But the league has gone in recent years from single high safety to double high safety, and I believe you're going to see a lot of 4 safety packages out there with Campbell. He can guard the middle, help stop the run, are you going to put a ton of pressure on opposing offenses with your ability to cover? For me, it's an A.
Then in the second round, at pick 34, off that trade, Detroit Lions get tight end Sam LaPorta. Mark, what do you think about that selection there at pick 34?
I needed to sleep on that one. I needed to sleep on that one again because you know how it is with tight ends in the city. With tight ends in the city, and I was like, okay, man, let's talk about this. Let's breathe a little bit. I know one thing about LaPorta is that, man, his yards after the catch is really good. He's a good route runner. Another captain on offense for that Iowa Hawkeyes team. Big. He won all kinds of awards. 2022 as well. He won. What did he win? I think he won the Big Ten Tight End of the Year. I think it's the Qualick and the Clark Award. So for the best Big Ten tight end. So he does a lot. He's a nice security blanket for Jared Goff. I think he's going to start right away. I personally didn't think we needed to draft a tight end that early. I didn't know we were even going to. So I was a little bit shocked again at that pick. But I know he's a good player. He is a solid player. I do like LaPorta. Michael Mayer was right there, though, and he went exactly one pick after us to the Raiders. So I was kind of like, whoa. I was like, so it took a little bit of time for me to digest. I think we got ourselves a really good player, but I'm still a little weary of it, man. But I do trust Brad Holmes, and he is a football guy. So, we got the 2 Iowa points. So let's roll with that, man.
Go ahead and go here to Ant-Man. I think you may be a little bit higher on Sam LaPorta. Thoughts on him at 34?
So, I mean, were there better receiving tight ends in this draft? Yes. Were there better blocking tight ends in this draft? Yes. Was there a better tight end in this draft fit-wise for the Detroit Lions? No. I think that, I do like Sam. Maybe, again, a little bit too high for me. But, again, this draft was about... We have to take into account that they take a person's personality, the psychology into this so much. It's not just about raw innate talent with these. It's about what's up here. And that factors in a lot. And when I take that into consideration as well, I don't mind it. The thing with Sam LaPorta that I like so much, he, again, is Detroit personified in the way that he goes about his business. He is very tough. He is very mentally tough in there. He does a lot of the dirty work at Iowa, but I think a lot of his game is underrated. You look at the receiving aspect of his game, and the numbers might not pop off the charts, but he had an absolutely gash quarterback throw into him last year. They have no receivers on that Iowa team whatsoever. He is the best receiving option on that team, and yet he still put up good numbers. He still got touchdowns, despite the fact that other teams would deliberately put extra men on him as a receiver, and he was still able to produce, which shows, even with a subpar quarterback, that he has that ability. It's what I loved about James Mitchell. He was in the same situation, and I think the two of them are going to work really well together. And in terms of the guy himself, again, he was on a terrible Iowa team, and he should have transferred to somewhere where he could have showcased himself more, but he didn't. He stayed loyal to his team. He was in the trenches fighting week after week after week, even in a lost cause of an offense. So when the chips are down, when times are tough, when the Lions, if they're in a corner, they're in a hole, they need someone to really knuckle down and go for it. Sam LaPorta will do that more than any other tight end in this draft would have done for this team. And that is what I really like about the pick when I've thought about it and settled on it. He is going to go to work for us. And both him and Mitchell are completely underrated receivers, and they are going to shock a lot of people this year. As was mentioned earlier, what Ben Johnson can do with the offense, the scheme fits, the mismatches, you're going to see, I think, some serious production out of our tight ends this year because people are just going to underestimate them. And we have a whole bunch of receivers who are going to be taking the pressure off them. So I really like the pick.
Then we come to the biggest steal of the draft here. It was such a shocker to me. I didn't even realize that Brian Branch was still on the board. That's how much. At pick 45, the Lions get Brian Branch, safety, DB, Alabama. To me, he was a top 10 draft pick. Falls to the Lions at 45. Amazing pick. What just the steal of this draft. I think a lot of people are going to regret not picking this guy. Dan, what was your thoughts and grade for this? To me, it's an A+.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be hard to say anything other than an A+, Mike. I mean, again, like we talked about with Campbell, I think it's a reflection of where they're trying to take this defense going forward. And I think the Lions have matured enough from a roster standpoint, a coaching staff, and the front office to say, hey, we're not just playing to be, second place or whatever in our division. We're in it to win the division and make a serious run at the Super Bowl. And I know that's crazy talk to any Lions fan because we've never been there. But to me, this is another reflection of you got to draft personalities and characters that you want in your locker room. And that's why, in my opinion, Carter wasn't an option. They're trying to build this thing where a bunch of people that are looking to go in one direction altogether. Whether you're talking LaPorta, Gibbs, or whoever, these guys are coming to play and they're coming to win and get to the Super Bowl. Hopefully we can win it. But with Branch, he fits everything you want to look for. He's got the leadership. He's got the strength. He's got the coverage ability. He's a great tackler. I just don't see any kind of downside in how we were able to get him, where we got him. I mean, that's one of the NFL's great mysteries of the draft.
That was I couldn't believe it. I was like, Brian Branch I didn't realize he was on the board. When I seen that, I was like, what? Holy hell, like what a steal. I'd even just was extremely happy. Mark, what was your thoughts when the Lions got Brian Branch at 45?
I felt the same as you, Mike. I couldn't believe he was still there. I honestly thought he was drafted. I was like, He's still on the board? I'm like, and then the greatest thing about it is that we traded with Green Bay, and then the backstory on that is that this is what I heard. I don't know how true this is, that apparently Brad Holmes told Gutekunst, the GM of Green Bay, that they would like to trade. They traded, but they asked, well, who are you taking? And he told them he was taking Hendon Hooker. I don't know how true this story is, but it was running rampant on social media that he lied to Gutekunst, and then they literally stole Branch from him because Green Bay needed a safety. They really did. So I'm kind of shocked for one that they made the trade. Then it makes it even better if that story is true. I like to think it is, and if it's not, who cares? Let's just say it is. But he's a dog, man. He's a dog. He's a missile. He plays bigger than he really is. He's only 195 pounds. Plays like he's 210, 215. He hits hard. He covers well. He's a really good in the box safety. Does not miss tackles. I think it was my personal favorite pick the whole draft, man. We got a dog out there, man. Brian Branch he's gonna learn under a real good player like CJ Gardner-Johnson, who's kind of similar in style too. So I really love that pick, man. It was a great pick.
Smash that like button. Thank you much, Paul Ginder. 100%. I don't know how many likes we're at, but I'd love to get to 100 before the show is over. 100 gets an ultra combo, and we got 150 you in the chat. Ant-Man, Brian Branch, 45. Holy hell, what a pick. What's your thoughts on that one?
Oh, I was doing cartwheels. I'm just like, I can't believe that teams keep letting us acquire these wonderful talents at picks they shouldn't be at. Like, the league should have learned this by now, and to have got him off Green Bay was just so much better. I mean, I said we needed to get younger at corner and safety. We don't have enough prospects coming through there now. We sorted that. At a position which is vital in Aaron Glenn's defenses and the ways it runs, he's going to have one of the best mentors in the game in terms of learning that position, learning that role. And what are you going to think as an opposition quarterback now? Imagine you're Jordan Love at Ford Field week one. You've got all the pressure in the world on you. You've got Hutch and Houston bearing down on you. You need to throw it somewhere. You're looking to the perimeter. You've got Cam Sutton and Emmanuel Mosley on your best receivers. You're trying to lob it somewhere downfield. You've got Kirby ball hawking all over the place. And then you've got Gardner-Johnson and Brian Branch. What are they doing? Are they going to come and blitz you? Are they playing safety? Are they playing nickel? Oh, my God, where the hell do I throw it? And do nothing. You freeze because there's that many options and that many things Aaron Glenn can do with his defense now. It's unreal. It's just going to be a real big problem for quarterbacks. They're going to have to sit and think about it a bit. The only trouble is they're going to have time to think and sit about it because they're going to be flat on their back. So I just love the scheme fit for it. If Gardner-Johnson balls out, we can't afford to pay him. Long-term solution. If Gardner-Johnson balls out and we can afford to pay him, we've got two threats at the position for years to come. Gardner-Johnson busts, we got a replacement for him. We have given ourselves talented player, protected ourselves long-term and short-term. I can't believe we got away with this one.
This is this is going to come back to haunt the Green Bay Packers. This is going to come back to be one of the biggest steals of the draft. You're right. I think we had a secondary that was butt cheeks last year. Our secondary now is ruthless. Turnover machine, hitting power. I cannot wait to watch the secondary. I have not said that in a really freaking long time. It's going to be absolutely fun to watch in 2023. Then we get another steal. In round 3, I've been telling everybody the Detroit Lions liked Hendon Hooker. I've been saying it for a long time. The Lions wanted to get Hendon Hooker, and they get at pick 68, early in round 3, quarterback Hendon Hooker out of freaking Tennessee to become our quarterback potentially of the future, backup this year. He needs to heal up. What did you think about the quarterback there, Ant-Man, Hendon Hooker?
See, I was... Full disclosure, when the pick was made, I hated it. I didn't like it. I don't really like doing the whole day 2 thing if I can't without my quarterbacks, but I've been asking for a higher level backup for a long time now. He's immediately one of the best backup quarterbacks we've had in some time. None of these layabouts going around the league, stealing jobs and lots of money off us. He's going to be a good backup, and maybe potentially in the future he might develop into a starter. I mean, the only issue I would have is if we were to struggle this year for whatever reason in Goff's last year, and we ended up picking high in the draft next year, and there were quarterbacks there, we'd pick one. Hendon Hooker wouldn't stop us from picking that other guy there, because I don't think, we're that assured that he's going to be the long-term future. But even if you can just develop him up, get a nice rapport going, and he's a career backup for us for the next 4 or 5 years, he'll be a very good one. And that's what we've been asking for. So maybe he can be the guy in the future. I am not convinced, but it's what we needed. We got him at very good value, like you said, in terms of the draft. So who am I to argue with them?
Someone keeps beeping.
Sorry,
Mark Orm, what did you think about... Oh, he's the one beeping. Dan, what did you think about getting Hendon Hooker at 68? To me, I think he's automatically backup, but I'm a little different. I think he potentially could be the future quarterback of the Detroit Lions.
I think it's great insurance, if nothing else. I mean, you're going to put some pressure on Goff to continue to ascend his game, continue to get better. In coach speak here, when somebody knows they can't get pushed for the position, they're not going to be as good as they could be. And I think that's, if nothing else, that's what the Lions have done. They brought in somebody to raise Goff's awareness, pique his interest, make sure that if he wants to get another contract here, he's going to have to ball out this year and probably the following year. The other part of that is Hooker is going to give you probably a lot more stability than Nate Sudfeld or anybody else. You're going to get the backup QB spot. He's got upside. He's got potential. So if they can see him really grow and develop, then maybe Goff becomes expendable in a year or two. But to me, it's just a win-win for the team.
Mm-hmm. It's a win-win situation, and I'm really happy that we got that. Hendon Hooker in round 3 is a steal to me. Just unbelievable. Mark Orm, what did you think about Hooker round 3?
I like the pick. I always wanted a mobile quarterback here, and we finally got one. This is a guy that I believe was first-round talent. He was going to win the Heisman. That doesn't mean he's first-round talent, but he was on his way to win that Heisman Trophy last year, and we got him at a steal in the 3rd round. And the people that say that he's not an NFL quarterback, I'm not sure what you were watching in 2021 or 2022. Just because he runs a lot doesn't mean he's not a good NFL quarterback. He has a great arm. He's a smart kid. I know he comes from a pass-friendly offense at Tennessee, that air raid offense, whatever people want to call it. But he is a good pocket passer. He's smart. They wouldn't take him in the 3rd round if they didn't think he'd be able to adjust in the NFL. There's a lot of quarterbacks, and I'm not doing any comparisons here, so don't jump down my throat. But you've seen guys like Dak Prescott, Patrick Mahomes, even Jared Goff coming from those air raid offenses in college and coming into the NFL and prove themselves worthy as an NFL quarterback. And Hooker is an intelligent kid. He can run, he can pass, he can make any throw in the NFL. And I think there's a chance that he could steal this job next year or the year after. I know he's 25, but 26, 27 years old. He's got the maturity already. And it's not like quarterbacks fall apart when they're a little bit older. You can play well into their 30s. I think Brad Holmes would make it I think he's going to make it a must. He's already doing this already to solidify that offensive line and protect the quarterbacks in this system. So, I love the pick, and he's a possible replacement for Jared Goff in the future for sure. And he can do it all. He's a smart kid.
69.6 completion percentage, 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, accurate, can throw the football, and is mobile. It does remind you of Jared Goff, but with legs. I think that's something that really could work well in this Ben Johnson offense if Ben Johnson is back next year. So that's going to be an interesting. But either way, if Goff plays great, great. If he doesn't play great, great. It's just a win-win situation for a third-round pick. It's a great. Absolutely. I mean, this guy could have went in the first round. He could have went at 23 to the Minnesota Vikings. That was the rumored. And we get him at 68. So I'm happy with that. Folks, if you got questions, put it in the comment section, #Lions, #whatever. That's how I see it. I'm going to miss it, repost it. Before we do that, though, Broderick Martin, nose tackle, Western Kentucky. The Lions trade up to get him. Ant-Man, what'd you think about this big defensive tackle, 330?
Yeah, well, what we needed. I mean, everyone knows Keanu Benton was the guy I wanted in the draft, but he was nose tackle, similar build, similar play style. Now, this guy's not got the pass rushing upside, but again, it was another need on this team. There were needs in this team because we want to compete next year. We want to go after the NFC North next year, and we had to fill some of these gaps in. So I can't pretend to know about a ton of his game at the minute. I'm going to have to sit and study some more before I make any firm objective conclusions about him. But all I will say is they gave up 3 picks to go and get him, or 2, and obviously the one they traded to go up there. So I trust their judgment that they'll be able to do this. Western Kentucky is actually a school that has put out linemen into the NFL in recent years. They've got a good system there. D'Angelo Malone last year. So, I'm willing to trust them on this. And I just want to say they picked him one spot in front of Siaki Ika, who was still sat there. And I was saying in the whole draft process, he was one of the biggest busts going and got lots of love for no reason. And the fact that they traded 3 picks to go and not get him shows you just how down they were on him. So I'm hoping Broderick Martin turns out good, and I trust them in the judgment on this one.
Devin Davis, #FGB. Are you disappointed we did not get Anderson? Mark Oram, did that give you a little bit of disappointment?
Yeah, of course, but I kind of knew that we weren't going to get him. I thought he was going 3. He ended up going 3 in a trade with, Houston ended up doing that big time trade. So yeah, I was a little bit disappointed, but I also didn't think he was going to fall to 6. So yeah, for sure. He was my favorite player in the draft, 100%.
He was my favorite player in the draft as well. I was disappointed if you watch live stream. I was like, no, but I fully expected we weren't going to get him. I mean, it was just one of those things where you can only wish, and it happens. What about you, Dan? Were you disappointed?
Not when I saw what they gave up to get him. But the other part of that is I thought it was a brilliant move for them to take the QB first to dumb down the amount of capital they'd have to give up Texans to move back up to number 3 with Arizona. So they did a lot of thinking behind it. Everybody would love to have Anderson, but at the same time, I didn't want to give up at least next year's first.
Paul Ginder, #Lions. How many interceptions do you think our defense will get this year? I have to know exactly what we got last year. Does anyone know off rip how many interceptions? Because I'm going to just say double, whatever it is. Because I think with what they picked up in the secondary with C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Emmanuel Mosley, Kirby Joseph in another year, Sutton, and now we're getting Brian Branch. I'm going to just go ahead and double that bad boy. What do you think, Ant-Man?
I think we'll get a lot more. Again, I don't know specifically how many we got on there, but we're willing to bet that we will do. In fact, hang on, I've got it here. 12. We got 12 last year.
24, I'll go with.
I was going to say 12 too. I was going to say 12, man. I was going to say that.
Yeah. So I'm willing to bet. I reckon we could get over 20 next year because we have a very deep defensive line now, and it's going to cause pressure. And it's going to cause errant throws, and we got a lot of ball hawks there ready to clean up now. So I certainly think over 20.
Dan, what do you think, man?
I think we're going to you're going to have a lot of fun watching the Detroit Lions defense next year. But as far as amount of picks, I'll go with 19 next year.
Green Bay is not relevant. Did we break the second round curse? Yes, we did. Brian Branch in the second round broke the curse right there. I don't know how in the hell this guy fell the second round, but it was the greatest thing of all time. That broke the curse right there. I can't tell you about the LaPorta pick, but the Brian Branch pick broke the curse. That's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah, if that doesn't work, Brian Branch, then we truly are cursed.
Yeah, then we go trade away every second round pick till the end of time.
Yes. Dragon fan Mike, I think you should do another Sorgino appearance on week 1. Well, how about this? There's a great chance that every single away game I'll be at Soaring Eagle Casino now doing the live watch parties with Herman Moore. So you're probably going to get your wish. Just wait on that, though. Did you feel that we could not have drafted Gibbs and Campbell in the second round? No, from what I'm hearing is Gibbs would have been gone by 15. He would have been gone by 15.
Yeah, there was rumors that the Jets, Patriots, even Miami were thinking about moving up to get him. So who knows, right?
Mm-hmm. So no Gibbs there, and Campbell I don't think would have lasted to the Lions at 34. Right. I was thinking late first round for Campbell. Could you trade it out at 18, maybe go to like 22 or 23? Potentially, you could have for sure, because I had a late first round grade on him. And, so at 18, I kind of get it. Hashtag Smash a Hole. Who did the worst in the NFL draft overall? What team did the worst in the NFL draft? Oof, that's a really good one.
Vikings,
you think the Vikings did? Okay. Okay, what do you think, Dan?
I think that, yeah.
I was going to go with Green Bay, but I'll go with Vikings.
The Vikings
reached Green Bay's draft.
They've reached big on 2 cornerbacks, and they've struggled with cornerbacks in recent years. They've taken another backup quarterback. I thought they got more talent in their undrafted free agency class than their draft, which says how much talent they got in their draft. It was not much.
What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, it's the same. I thought they reached 2 as well. I'm going to say Minnesota. Yeah, I'm going to Minnesota for sure. Chicago took a lot of defensive tackles too. I thought they kept piling up on interior defensive tackles. I thought was a little bit weird, but they didn't have a bad draft. But it's got to be Minnesota.
Best to say Philadelphia Eagles. That defensive line is absolutely scary, and I don't want to face it. I'll just say there. Man, Bear Pig. Hey, Mike and friends, what's your thoughts on the backup quarterback situation as of now? Do you think Hooker Martinez can push Sudfeld out? Potentially, I think Martinez will be a practice squad guy, but Hooker's going to be on the team either way. So, great. Our quarterback situation's great. I'm happy with it. I have no worries now, and I think the rest of the whole team here would agree with that one for sure.
Can I say something on that, though, Mike?
Go ahead.
I think they're still going to bring in Bridgewater. I think Bridgewater's coming to town. I really do, because I don't think I have a feeling that they'll probably put Hooker on the pup, and I don't think he'll be ready. He just started throwing literally 2 days or a day prior to the draft, doing drop backs and stuff like that. So I don't think he's going to be ready, man. So I expect Bridgewater to be coming to town very shortly. Just my opinion.
But on the flip side, I think if Hooker is ready to go, or is at least to a backup capacity, Martinez can push Sudfeld out, because what you want from QB3, scout teams, things like that, Martinez is a bona fide dual threat quarterback. His throwing ain't as great, but if you want a guy on there, Sudfeld ain't going to do that for you. Martinez gives us more of what we need in a quarterback 3 than Sudfeld does. So if Hooker supplants QB2, then Sudfeld's a goner.
Yeah, Sudfeld, he's got no chance. I think Hooker's going to be the backup come opening day.
Hope so. I hope so.
Crazy Jeff, hashtag Detroit runs a base 4-2-5. What do you think the linebacker and the secondary starters? The secondary, I think it's going to be mixed up. Throw in Branch in there, potentially get a lot of time in the slot as well. But they have a lot of names, so I couldn't tell you what's going to happen back there. I think you'll see Jack Campbell and Alex Anzalone quite a bit, and then you'll see Malcolm Rodriguez situationally. I think that's kind of what I'm going to go with. What do you think, Mark?
I think it's good. I think it's going to be like a little rotation there. Yeah, for sure. So, we're going to see Anzalone. We're going to see Rodriguez. Campbell's going to get in the mix. Barnes is probably going to be the odd man out.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of work to do, Derek Barnes. He better have improved over the offseason, man. Hopefully, I always thought he was a developing linebacker anyways, but I see Jack Campbell, Rodriguez, and Anzalone just rotating in and out, man.
Derek Biddleman, do you think it was a mistake to trade Swift to Philly? Why not trade him to the AFC team? Well, Swift wanted to be traded as soon as we got Jahmyr Gibbs, and apparently we allow them to go to the teams they want to go to. Matthew Stafford traded to the Rams, and it seemed like Swift wanted to go to Philadelphia. Could it be a mistake? It could potentially be a mistake, but Swift is always hurt as well. So that's one of those things. And you're getting a fourth round 2025 pick. I don't know. I don't know what the other trade offers were for other teams. I think it could be. We don't really know. But Ant-Man, what do you think?
To get a fourth round pick for a glass running back who's got, let's say, some form of attitude issue when it comes to how he plays and the level of effort he gives is a very commendable return for him, let's just say. I want to knock him, but it was well known that maybe that 100% effort was not in there with him, and he was made of glass. So the fact that you get a fourth round for him, I don't think anyone's offering more than that. I know it's in a couple of years, but in a couple of years' time, we'll go be like, oh, hey, we got that fourth from Swift this year. That fourth could be vital in one of many ways going forward, and we were never going to get more for him. And the 30 picks this year meant that we were able to get up and go and get our developmental X as well, who might not have been there otherwise. So it was a very valuable trade for both teams. I think we got more than we should have for him.
Hashtag F Tampa Bay. Mike, do you think the Detroit Lions are the biggest threat to the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC? I think the Lions, 49ers, and Cowboys are real teams in the NFC that can make legit noise. I still go with the 49ers just because, I mean, they showed it last year and they got such a great defense that I think the 49ers are probably the best, but you can put the Lions in there. Still 49ers. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, I think the 49ers are going to be that team. Philadelphia is going to be tough. They had a really good draft as well. I think we're going to be in that mix, though. I'm still calling we're winning the North, and hopefully we can win a playoff game or two. But I still think we're a year away from really, really being contenders. But I do like our chances. We won't go away, that's for sure. We're not going to be that team that's going to get bopped around by the Eagles or anything like that. It'll be a fight to the finish, even if we have to play the 49ers or something like that too. But those two teams are really, really tough.
What do you think about that there, Dan the Man? Who is the team to beat?
You know, I think the 49ers, for all the success they've had the last few years, they are starting to show some signs of age at different spots. Purdy's injury is going to have to really heal up for them to be effective because unlike the last few years where they've had sound backup quarterback play, they're looking to be significantly different this upcoming year. It's Phillies to win or lose, but I like the way we match up with them. I think we've improved exponentially, and we've got a lot of salary cap space still left, so I wouldn't be surprised before training camp we make some moves.
Make sure you hit that like button. Let's get to 100 likes, folks. We got 254 in the building. Smash that like button. Let's get to 100. We will do an ultra combo if that does occur. And I would love to do it right meow. Who is going to be the toughest game for the Lions this year from Devin Davis? I'm going to go Kansas City Chiefs. They won the Super Bowl. They are going to be a difficult team to face. It's going to be difficult to go to Arrowhead where it's all red over there. I think that's going to be the hardest game, and it's going to be fun to watch. Hopefully Jared Goff can repeat what he did last time he played the Kansas City Chiefs. Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, man, like Super Bowl champions, man, like Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. That's going to be the toughest game. They're the best team in the world. They don't look like they've slowed down at all. They're probably not going to slow down. They're well coached. They got great offense. They build on the defense. They're just a super team, man. And that's going to be the toughest game of the year for sure.
What do you think there, Ant-Man?
Whoever we face in the Super Bowl, because that AFC is stacked as anything.
He's saying we go in the Super Bowl, baby.
Hell yeah, buddy.
Gotta think optimistic. Gotta think optimistic.
I love it.
I just want to win the NFC North. Just win the NFC North, and then we can talk the next game right there because we've never done it yet. 9 drinks, my man says, so wrong. We should have waited till week 7 to get away more for Swift then. Well, Swift, he wanted to trade. As soon as we did Jahmyr Gibbs, he has to be traded. So when you ask to be traded, I don't want a guy to be here. I don't.
Yeah.
Do you want to have a guy who just asked to be traded? Personally, I don't. What do you think about that one, Ant-Man? Because you're about to speak.
No, I mean, no. He's not going to get more value, though, is he? David Montgomery's here now, and Montgomery's going to be lead back,
Yeah.
and he's not going to be playing major snaps. And let's say we did theoretically not take Jahmyr Gibbs, and we were going to try and trade Swift away at the deadline. I mean, then what? You're going to go to the end of the season and potentially the playoffs with just Monty and some backup behind him. It's not smart planning for your team. Swift is gone regardless, whether we liked it or not. And this year, we're going to be buyers at the deadline, not sellers. Let's not forget this. We are a good team now who is probably going to be going towards the playoffs, who is going to need to pick up players. I think we're just used to being sellers at the deadline. We are not a selling at the deadline team anymore, folks. We are a team who is going to keep attracting players. We're going to get better players. And when there's players on the chop block while we're doing well next season, they're going to want to come to Detroit. So we're going to be buying. So get your running back room depth stacked. We are 3-4 years. We have stability at the running back position now, and we can go out and get players elsewhere.
I want to know in the comment section, you guys' win-loss record. Throw that in the comment section, spam it. Because we got a question here from Liam Gaddy. He says, hashtag, I got the Lions at 13-4 this year. What do you guys think? Dan, what is your win-loss total for the Lions this year?
I got 12 wins for them next year. I mean, it's still a very young, developing team. While we got a ton of potential, we ended last year with a lot of momentum. They're still going to have to learn how to handle different situations and pressure, adversity. So we'll probably drop one that we thought they shouldn't. They'll also probably win one we thought they shouldn't. So I'm going to go with 12 wins.
What do you got, Mark?
Yeah, there was a couple games this year that we should have won, guys. We should have been in double digits. So I'm going to go with 12-5, just like Dano, man. I think this team is on its way. You know, I still feel that we're a year away, but we're on its way to at least win the North this year and make some noise in the playoffs, man. And, you know, let's go. 12 wins, man. I haven't said that in a long time. And I feel comfortable this year saying it.
Ant-Man.
See, this is a cop-out, but I need to wait until the schedule's released. I do, because our road schedule is rotten. If you start with at Chiefs, at Ravens, at Chargers, like in your first 6 weeks, and they load the schedule down on you and you lose a few, this is a confidence-based team. And if you're getting that hard end of the schedule and you start the season 1-3, 1-4, because the hard things come first, it could go south very quickly. But if we get a nice opening and we can work our way up to those tough games, I think we could go up to like 12, 13 wins if we wanted to. But for me, I've got to wait and see the schedule first.
I got the Lions getting 11 wins. I got 11 wins right now. I think that's doable. 9 wins last year. I think they can up it up to 11 this year. We got Phil Phelps says, hashtag FGB, how much cap space do we have? Right now it's 26.5 million. Subtract 13 from that. So it's more like 13.5 because we do got to pay the rookies whom we have drafted. So we still got cap space. It's amazing. And just like Ant-Man said, we'll probably be buyers the trade deadline. And who knows, maybe they go ahead and sign a couple players here before the season starts. Hashtag Rogrito, was the last year's training camp darling? What late round undrafted rookie this year do you think will make a splash? What do you got, Dan, for the Lions undrafted darlings?
Martin, I think he's going to make a big impression on a lot of people. With that being said, I think he's going to have limited snaps his rookie year. He's got to go through a lot of weight training and things to get up to an NFL level. But I think we're going to be relying on him and 9 to maybe 18 snaps a game, unless he really supersedes that. But this kid's got some potential. There's a reason why they gave up the draft picks to move up and get him. There's a reason why you saw teams trade back once the Lions did get him. I think this kid, he might not be a starter, but I think by the end of the year, everybody's going to know who he is.
Who do you got, Mark?
I've got 2 guys, but I'll just say one. Brandon Joseph, the kid that we took out of Notre Dame, the safety, safety corner or whatever. He's a ball hawking kid, suffered a big-time injury. Surprised he still didn't get drafted. He's a guy that I really like. Keep an eye on him for that secondary.
Who do you got there, Ant-Man?
So I was very proud that I landed Demetrius Taylor right at the start of last year. I said he'd make the 53. He did. This year, Mohamed Ibrahim is going to make the 53. I love this kid so much. I have through college. I was devastated when he got injured 2 years ago. I mean, they were playing Ohio State. He got like 160 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first half. He was just going absolutely crazy. The world was his oyster, and he was a first-round pick. That injury happened. Everyone said it was over. He was done for. He comes back last year, 1,600 yards, over 1,000 yards after contact. This guy is a complete and utter tank. You know, when Monty and Gibbs are done with having their way with opposition defenses and run them into the ground, you've got this guy coming in at running back 3. If you're tired, he has just got bulldozer out the way and he's going to be gone. I love him. Yep. I love his story. He is going to make this 53. He is going to knock Hulu out this team.
He got $100,000 signing bonus. He's making the team. Right. I think he will go ahead and beat either it would be Jamar Jefferson, Craig Reynolds, or Jason Kabinda. He's going to make the team, and I'm going to give you another one. Chase Cota, wide receiver from Oregon Ducks, 6'4", 200 pounds. He got an $80,000 bonus, and I think he potentially could make the team as well, maybe in front of a Trinity Benson or somebody else that is at the very end. I think those 2 players make the football team from the undrafted guys. I like it. I love it, and I want some more of it because these undrafted guys, there's always 1 or 2 that makes the team. Jerry Jacobs, undrafted, did a good job. So you got to look at these guys as well. Hashtag Smash a Hole. Which draft pick do y'all think doesn't make the 53-man roster? Ooh, that is a great question. Who does not make the 53-man roster? What do you got, Dan?
I'm going to go with Green, the receiver. I mean, I get he's got some special teams value too, but I think that wide receiver room, it's going to be pretty crowded. I mean, they're going to look at building some depth there. You know, he's really going to have to win it with special team returns. I just don't think he'll be ready to win a spot as just a flat out receiver.
I agree with you. I'm going to go with that. What do you got, Mark?
I think they're all making the team. And I'm not even trying to be a homer here. I like their late round picks. I like Antoine Green. I think he reminds me a lot of Marvin Jones. He could get stashed on the practice squad though. Sorsdahl, I think, is going to win a spot, you know, the offensive tackle / guard. So, man, I think they're all going to make the squad, man. Maybe you might see a couple guys on the squad, on the practice squad, though. So
Jake Moody was drafted in the 3rd round.
Who?
Jake Moody, the kicker, by the way. So we can't pick up a guy who was drafted. He was was it Seattle who drafted him?
San
Francisco drafted him in the 3rd round. So,
I don't get that pick.
Hey,
weird.
Good for them. Who do you think doesn't make the roster, Ant-Man? And it better not be Jahmyr Gibbs. Come on, man.
I love Jahmyr Gibbs. Don't
I know.
give
I
me
was just
that
playing
stuff,
with
Mike.
your dog. You know that.
I think if any of them doesn't make it, it's Sorsdahl. Yeah. I think he's the big project there. I mean, Antoine Green, he is the outside X receiver we need in the future. We don't have anyone like him, for me, on our roster, and therefore we need his skill set. We need what he brings to the table. And despite what people say about his production or whatever, you've just got to look at that UNC team. Josh Downs had nearly 100 receptions last year, more than double him as the next guy. Mm-hmm. There's mouths to feed all over that offense. So I have no worry about the lack of productivity there for him. It's just crowded in a big group of people. He's got the exact skill set we need deep down the field, 20 yards per reception on average for catch. He's the deep threat we need. He's going to stay there. Sorsdahl is a complete and utter projectional project at the next level. Although I like him. I do. But I think if anyone's going to miss it, Sorsdahl misses.
We hit 101 likes. You know what that means.
Ultra Combo Breaker! Ultra Combo Breaker!
Thank you so much for getting that 101 likes. Absolutely love it when we get past the 100 mark. Very difficult to do, but it's always a good thing for sure. Will LaPorta be better than TJ Hockenson? He better be better than TJ Hockenson. I'm going to say this right now. He's got to get more receptions. He's got to produce because TJ wasn't doing that good with what we had last year under Ben Johnson. And he's got to do it when you're drafted at 34. Dan, what do you think about this?
I think he's a much better overall tight end the day he enters the NFL than TJ Hockenson. Hockenson, I mean, he was billed out of college as somebody who can run, block, and catch passes. It just me watching him throughout his years here and then in Minnesota, I don't think TJ's a very good run blocker by any stretch of the imagination. So the other part of it was TJ was a high draft pick. I think the Lions tried to force the ball to him a lot, which wasn't ideal.
Yeah.
Where here, once he was traded, you could see the tight end room, it kind of explode with production. LaPorta, I think he's going to come in and far supersede a lot of expectations. Remember, this is an offense he came from in college that was stagnant. I mean, if they got 3 points, 6 points a game, I mean, that was reason for everybody to cheer. So the fact that he won't be triple or quadruple covered every play, I think he's going to fit in real nice.
What do you think, man?
I think Sam LaPorta and TJ Hockenson are two completely different types of tight end and should not be measured against one another. TJ was quite clearly more of a receiving guy coming out of college, and that's what he was known for. Sam does a little bit of everything. He's better in the trenches where we need him to be. So I like Sam, and I think he just brings the right mentality to Detroit. I don't know if TJ ever did. He was a bit more flashy, a bit more receiver-y type. You can't compare the two, and I'm never going to compare the two because they are completely different types of guys. I just hope Sam succeeds, and I think he's got a better chance here because he's more what Detroit's about.
LaPorta, do you think that was a reach? I'm not going to say it was a reach. I just didn't want to get a tight end early. That's just my personal preference. I'm going to support the guy. Hopefully he does great. Hopefully he kills it, makes me look like a DA, and I'll be all for it. That's just my personal thing. You all know me and tight ends. What this means to me, the LaPorta 2024 draft, please don't draft a tight end. God dang it.
I want
leave
to
the tight
so
end.
bad there.
God, I'm so tired of that position. Oh, man. Devin Davis, hashtag smash a hole. Do y'all think that JMO's suspension was too harsh or perfectly justified? Here's my thing. You should have known. They just happened to that receiver that was for Atlanta that went to the Jacksonville Jaguars. The rule's dumb. It is. It is probably harsh, but it's just, it sucks all around. But what do you think, Mark?
You know what, man? It might have been harsh, but it's a rule. It's a rule. Bottom line, we can say it's a stupid rule. I completely agree with that notion there, but it's a rule, and you have to be smarter. All that man had to do was leave the building, walk down the street, get out of Wi-Fi range, and make the bets. We know what he bet on. He didn't bet on NFL games, so they are allowed to bet, but you got to be smarter in that situation. Don't go in the parking lot. Don't sit in your car. Leave and make that bet. So it is a stupid rule, but it's a rule, and you should abide by it. So, 6 games, I was hoping it was going to get knocked down, but you can't appeal it. You can't appeal that rule when it's something like that. So it's 6 games. He better, hopefully he learns, man.
How
Mike,
often do you?
I just want to say one thing about the rule. Ian Rappaport, somebody who makes his living off of covering the NFL and knowing these rules inside and out, comes out and says he didn't know the rule. And to me, that's the problem with the NFL. And maybe you could even say the Lions brass. The fact that these people who do this at a full-time level and have for a decade or more were unaware of that part of the rule. How do you expect a 21-year-old kid who just got in the NFL to know it?
Yeah, but they have those meetings and stuff, those rookie symposiums and all that stuff. They don't talk about gambling. They have to, man.
They might not talk about that aspect. I mean, if Rappaport doesn't know it, how many players do you think
that is true. You have a point, bro. You do have a point.
How often do we see Montgomery Gibbs on the field together? A lot.
Woo.
Because Montgomery will run and Gibbs can be a wide receiver. He could be Deebo Samuel-esque type of player in Alvin Kamara. So you're going to see them together a lot. And that's called lightning and thunder. Good luck defenses. And that's what really makes this offense even better and explosive. You don't know what the hell they're going to do now, Ant-Man.
Yeah.
See, I don't like this Deebo name getting attached to Gibbs. I think it's offensive to Gibbs. Gibbs is a great running back. And people are forgetting this very quickly. He is a really good running back. He has worked the triple option at Georgia Tech. He has worked a more expansive offense at Alabama and has done both incredibly well. Deebo Samuel cannot run the ball anywhere near as good as Jahmyr Gibbs can. If Jahmyr Gibbs is anywhere near as good, at slot receiver. Jahmyr Gibbs is better than half the slot receivers in this draft. Let's put it that way. Gibbs has the potential to be the first Jahmyr Gibbs, not the next Debo. Debo can't run the ball the way Gibbs can. So
he plays a Debo-esque role where you're playing running back, wide receiver, slot receiver, pretty much any position on the offense besides offensive line and quarterback. So he's a weapon.
I agree, but I think he's going to be the first Jahmyr Gibbs because Debo can't run the ball anywhere near as good as Jahmyr Gibbs can. So Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be his own kind of special, and people in future years going to say, maybe we've got our next Jahmyr Gibbs.
You want him to be that type of player where he's ascending even above the big names. So if you can do that, that's why a lot of teams are willing to trade up.
Yeah.
To get him is because of his.
I think he's a clone of Alvin Kamara. He's a clone.
He is a Alvin Kamara type of player. That's what he is.
Watch him run. He runs just like him. He runs exactly like him, kind of straight up, very patient, explosion. He can run routes like Kamara. He's like a wide receiver in a running back body. It's just he's going to be really good for this system, man. Really good for this team.
PC Payload says, how quickly do you think the whining Lions fans change their tune when the Gibbs burns 70 yards down the field? Game-winning touchdown real quick. I think you'll see. I think if he gets snaps in preseason, it ends right then and there. 100%. When they see that big old play that he does, it will end it right there. Look, everybody looks at Mel Kiper's mock drafts or Todd McShay's mock draft, my mock drafts, everybody's mock drafts, and they assume that's the big board for every team. That's not the case at all. Everybody has different boards on every franchise, and they value differently each player. So was it a shock that Gibbs went 12? No. Was it a shock that teams were willing to trade up and take him at 15? No. Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things, and you're looking for your players, too. You're not just looking for, well, this is a player that's this highly regarded. So, like, I had Trenton Simpson above Jack Campbell. Other people had Jack Campbell above Trenton Simpson. He had Hanley above others when it comes to Ant-Man. It's just the way – that's just the way everybody kind of values. So,
and what did Brad Holmes say immediately after the draft? He said, respectfully, he goes, I don't care about your mock drafts.
Yeah, and it should be that way.
We don't listen to the Mel Kipers. We don't listen to the Lions fans. All due respect there. He's like, but we don't care about your mock drafts. We have a different system. So, and all NFL GMs, that's just not Brad Holmes. That's 32 GMs, man. So they don't care.
Yeah. I felt like they're taking a running back really early. I thought it'd be Bijan Robinson, but you get Jahmyr Gibbs. I said Jack Campbell, and Hendon Hooker, by the way. I'm happy about that. But
Gibbs, they're gonna love Gibbs real quick, whether it's his running or the way he gets stuck in. Like I say, you don't play in a triple option offense if you can't do the nitty-gritty, dirty work, the blocking, all that sort of stuff. People say you go high. You're getting so much more with him. You really, really are. He has done it at all levels. He just keeps getting better, and he is not afraid to get in a scrap and go out for it. And I think that's what people will like most about him.
Do you like Swift? You do? Well, he's better than Swift, and he actually can stay healthy, unlike Swift. So that's what you're going to get. Just imagine all these weapons, too. He's going to demand double coverage the way he is. He may be one of the scariest offensive weapons right now for the Lions. It's just going to open everything up for Amon-Ra and everybody else on this offense. So it's about to really be awesome. I mean, this offense should be top 3 offense. It should be with the Philadelphia Eagles and Kansas City Chiefs. I expect it to be a top 3 offense. You're going to love Jahmyr Gibbs. That's why I wasn't pissed when they took him. I said, I see it and I understand why. I definitely do. So I thought the Lions had a really good draft all around. I loved it, but we're about to close the show out. Dan the man, shout your channel out. What are you doing on there? Let the people know.
Lions Talk Live, come on over. See us on Sunday night, 6 to 7 p.m. for our live stream. During the week, I put out videos breaking down players, the draft, whatever breaking news there is. So if you want to look at some Lions news, come on over to Lions Talk Live.
Mark Oram from Orum's Oram Forum.
Hey, thanks a lot, Mike. Thanks a lot, Dan, Anthony. It was awesome. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Come check me out at Mark Oram, Orum's Forum. drop a lot of Lions content, just wrapping up some of the draft. I got one more player to talk about. And I do Orem's Den. It's kind of weekly. I don't really have a set time, but we sit and we just talk Detroit Lions, we talk the draft, we talk the NFL, baby. Let's go. Thanks a lot, guys.
My man Ant-Man for Roar Lions UK. Shout your channel out. What are you doing?
Yeah, and thanks to everyone on the panel this evening. It's been lovely here to be with you all. You can find us, me and other guys, at Roar of the Lions UK. We are a group of Detroit Lions fans, as it says, from over in the UK. So if you want to come and get a different perspective of things, come and check us out. We will be going through the off season. We don't stop. We keep coming up with new content. So please do come check us out. And thanks to everyone who did come and check us out over the weekends. I know Mike and his crew did a wonderful presentation there, but still people drop by to say hi, and we appreciate that. So yeah, come check us out. But yeah, thanks ever so much.
Videos dropping every single day, folks. Make sure you go to lionsnationnight.com for the latest gear. Facebook, we're live all the time. Adios.
I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me. And what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan. Your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be fucking sour. Take a cold shower. Scream until you're louder. Work until you're prouder. And all the doubters, they're just young downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off at these fucking clowns who were all